Hey, what's going on, guys? So it seems as if there's really nothing I can do to get everything working quite well. I've tried a lot of different settings. I've tried doing dances. I've tried sacrificing burnt offerings. Nothing seems to appease the ISP gods of where I'm located. And so the lag in the stream is going to be unfortunately unavoidable as far as I can see. It looks not absolutely 1,000,000% terrible, but it definitely doesn't look good. I definitely will give you guys that. I'm only able to get about 15 to 1900 kbps, which normally I run at about 3700 kbps, so I'm not quite sure. I've already scaled my output resolution down as much as I can. What's going on, guys? You know, I do want to say that it is pretty inspiring to see all you guys in the chat, even with the technical difficulties. Thank you, Jasper, Rico, Emmy, Top Hat, Hamid. What's going on, guys? Sanjeev, good to see you this morning. Alex, hey, what's going on? So I've already redone this twice now, and I've changed my scaled output resolution. I've brought the quality down as much as possible, I think. So let me think about what I want to do here. I'm watching me on my mobile, and it does seem fairly unwatchable. And I do not want to subject you guys to watching me stutter step around. So we'll see what we can do here. Let's see if we can... Let's hop over here. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'll just do a real short video this morning. Don't think I'm going to be able to fix everything 100%. Hopefully we'll get this patched up by tomorrow. You know, I am a very cheerful, good-natured guy. But here's the thing. I have been going back and forth with my ISP on this issue for a while because a week will go by and everything's fine, and then we have a day like this. And they have sent out multiple technicians. They've sent out multiple guys. I've talked to tier 2 elements, I've talked to tier 2 techs. I don't think anybody understands what they're doing. So I guess I'm just gonna have to be a jerk about it and call them up and give them the old 1-2, like, hey guys, listen. You're gonna have to send out your best techs. I'm gonna need it all. Anyways, you guys aren't here to hear about my ISP issues. You're here to look at the markets. All right. So I want to make this very simple for everybody because I think that people overcomplicate things. Okay. I feel that people overcomplicate things sometimes. So let's take a simple look at the 4-hour chart on Bitcoin. And let me point something out. I'm getting a lot of messages, you know, especially in the Discord, not from the people in the premium group. Nobody in there getting wrecked. But, you know, you see the liquidations all over the place, especially on ETH. A lot of liquidations just rolled out. You have so many people attempting to go, yeah, Scott, seems like everything's as good as it could possibly be. You know, the problem is that people are focusing on the 15-minute chart and the 30-minute chart and the hourly chart, for example, and they're generating trade ideas off of that. And while you can have a successful strategy that incorporates some of those elements, I find that you're going to have much more success if you just pay attention. If you look, as I said yesterday, for the no-brainer setups. Look for the no-brainer setups. And what do we see here for no-brainer setups? And what are the qualifications, or what elements are very important for no-brainer setups? So all I can speak to is myself and what I use on a day-to-day basis. And no-brainer setups to me revolve almost entirely around horizontal support and resistance and the volume profile to give confluence to those levels of horizontal support and resistance. Just because a level, if you're looking at the 30-minute chart and you see a horizontal support and you go long off of that, that's not your best strategy. Now, that can work in a scalping strategy. That's absolutely fine if you're just worried about scalping. But if you want longer term setups, if you want directional positional trades, then you need to be looking at your higher time frames. You need to be looking at your weeklies, you need to be looking at your dailies, and you need to be looking at your 4 hours. You always start big and then zoom down into. You start large and zoom down into your micros to determine what are actual key levels that the market is respecting on long-term basis. And when you see a touch of those levels, for example, if you're coming up to a level, it's going to act as resistance. And that is a good area to enter into a short. When you break through that area and that level holds as support, that is a support resistance flip. You can now safely go long, as safely as trading can be. So let's look here on the chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart again, I went over the weekly chart. I go over the weekly chart and the daily chart on Bitcoin just about every day. And now that I've got my key levels mapped out, let's talk about what levels are no-brainers. So we've drawn a fixed range. We've drawn a fixed range of Bitcoin from the bottom, from the bottom, encompassing this entire range to current resistance around 4,000, 4,200. So we see a few things. We see the median line of the range currently acting as resistance. That median line is coming in right here. I'm looking at the BitMEX chart. So the median line is coming in right around 37.76. We also have the visible range point of control coming in right around 38.22. So this range right here is acting as current resistance. And we can see that had you simply plotted this out, you would have had an amazing short entry right here. And you also have current good short entry potentials right here. We have this descending trend line, which is acting as strong resistance. Bitcoin has been unable to break this line. This point right here is also going to be acting as strong resistance. We also see a high volume node coming in right around 4,000 with the apex of that coming in right around 4,010. That is also going to be acting as strong resistance. So when you're looking at the chart and you're looking for areas and you don't know where to enter, see, nobody entering here has any real reason to be entering into a long, unless you're targeting this area as support. You can see that we do have a high volume node down here, but it's part of this larger high volume node. And one thing that I don't really like to do is I don't like to enter into trades at the bottoms of high volume nodes, especially when you're consolidating around a high volume node that you've been in for a long time. The tendency to get whipsawed is just too great. As you can see, you've been whipsawed to the downside, you've been whipsawed to the upside. And the potential for the trade to not go your favor is just too great. It's just too great. What you need to do, or what I feel you should do, again, you're responsible for making your own trades, is you need to be targeting areas that have been untested. As we were talking about in the Discord this morning, when looking at something like VPSV or volume profile for taking setups, your cherry areas, your no-brainer areas are going to be untested areas of the volume profile. As you can see here on the 4-hour chart, we do have a HVN right here that has been recently untested. We can also see how it was a previous point of control and a consolidation range. Bitcoin has not tested this area right here for support. And you can see that this area was front run. So if you would front run that area and put your buy right at the top of that HVN, or just spaced buys throughout this HVN, you would have been able to catch this down wick and you'd be in a very profitable position right now. So what's another area that has not been tested yet? Well, another area that has not been tested yet is right here. We have an HVN down here. We have consolidation in this range. We have support twice. We have support that gets broken through. We have resistance once, and then the breakthrough. This level right here has not been tested. So where should you be going long from? Well, looks to me like 32.54 would be a good area to go long from. Where's another good area to be going long from? At least in the short term for scalping, because you can see that the range is quite tight. This descending trend line. And you have confluence again right here at that 34, 33.80 area. Seems like good areas. Overhead, as I talked about, you've got this point of control, descending trend line, high volume node. You want to be targeting these areas to enter into your shorts. Because until we break the range, you're trading the range in its totality. Short high, cover low, buy low, sell high. Very simple, guys. What needs to happen, as I talked about yesterday, for directional trades to be put on? Let's go to the Bitstamp chart. So we'll look at the daily here now. This is the daily on Bitstamp. Okay, hold on, let me get rid of this stuff. I started adding some stuff to my moving averages script, and now like 7 moving averages pop up. So it's all good. Anyways, what needs to break? I talked about this yesterday. Let's go ahead and throw on the Liquid Karma template. There we go. Excellent. Perfect. That's what we want to see. All right. We have this daily equilibrium area. We have this area coming in as I talked about. Let's look at the weekly chart actually, sorry, so we can establish this because I redid my lines last night. Here we go. So we have our equilibrium block right here. As I talked about yesterday, what is an equilibrium block? We have a dominant market trend. We get stalled out right here. On this week, we have a week of indecision, ultimately forming a Darth Maul candle. We come back down, we form a bottom, and then immediately the area that is tested on the weekly basis is this range right here. So where do I have this horizontal line right here? I have this horizontal line at the close of this candle because the weekly has been unable to close above this level. Where do we look for confirmation of this to get closed above? Well, we do go down to the daily chart. So what we're looking for is that daily close above this level. And we can even be a little bit more speculative and look for a daily close above this level. But we can clearly see current resistance on the weekly time frame. This equilibrium block, in fact, yesterday I had it shaded in. And this is fine, but as we progress into looking for more profitable setups, I attempt to remove as much possible clutter as I can from my chart. So what do we see? Do we see any confluence with this besides price action, besides candlestick analysis? Well, of course we do. We have an HVN coming in right around 4,014 on spot price. We have our 8-period exponential moving average on the weekly time frame, which has not been closed above for quite a while. Has not been closed above for quite a while since this week right here. So that's going to be a nice bullish sign. We have a point of control coming in right around 37.85, acting as current resistance on the weekly time frame. All very simple maneuvers. Manfred says, buy high, sell low. Top Hat says, it's always worth a small punt. Don't gamble what you can't afford to lose. Nerd Robert says, today I was talking about Bitcoin with my uncle. He is a rich guy and told me he couldn't believe people are still going to shill Bitcoin in 2019. Now he thinks he might be investing in Bitcoin. You know, from the long time frame, from the long perspective, you are correct. You know, Bitcoin can go lower. Yeah, I'm going to make this very quick, guys. I'm only going to do this for about another 20 minutes. Give me time to focus on my subscribers today. Look for good setups. I do have some DMs from them, and I do want to get to them. But I just want to make sure that I do have somewhat of a routine. You hit that nail on the head, Dr. Fasona. All right. So let's recap what we've talked about today. Nothing profound, nothing life-changing, just things to keep in mind. So let's go back to the BitMEX chart to talk about this a little bit more clearly. So what do you need to be doing when you're approaching the charts? You need to be zooming out. You need to start on the weekly. You need to establish your strong areas of horizontal support and resistance. You need to go down to the daily and fine-tune those. Then you need to be watching on the 4-hour chart. Now, when you get in proximity to levels, what I do like to do is then I will zoom down to a micro time frame. A 30-minute chart, a 15-minute chart, for example, to find to actually see the reaction around that level. And when I see a nice, good, strong reaction on a micro time frame, that has validated a higher time frame level for me, and then I will safely enter into a position. Alternatively, if you want to play a little looser, you can just target these areas right here. You can go ahead and target these areas with limit orders, and you can manage your risk with average true range. You can also manage your risk quite simply by setting stop losses beyond HVNs. Is a very good way to do it, because price is unlikely to hit an HVN if you are entering a trade in an HVN. So let me explain that. So when you are targeting an HVN for entry, what is likely to happen? You're likely to see a stop loss hunt into the LVN, but you're unlikely to see the candle close and actually progress through the HVN unless your trade is invalidated. So that's why the 4-hour chart is very important. It's fine to see an intraday wick into your LVN. That's why you do not want to have your stop loss there. You don't want to have your stop loss there. You do want to wait for a 4-hour candle at the minimum to actually close inside your LVN if you are targeting, for example, this range right here. So if you were targeting this box, this channel right here, in between your fixed range point of control and your visible range point of control, seems like a very likely area. We have a previous consolidation zone right here. A lot of volume, a lot of liquidity in this zone. We already have seen right here that it is acting as strong resistance on the first pass through, more than likely holds on the secondary test. We can also see where Bitcoin had resistance here, found support, and then we just consolidated around this area before eventually catapulting off of it into the bull trap, which was right here. So where would retailers be trained to place their stops? They'd be trained to place their stops directly above your swing high. Well, that's the area that we're targeting. They'd probably place their stops in this zone right here, but unfortunately that's the LVN. And that's where everybody else is going to have their stops placed. You're going to most likely see a stop loss hunt into that area. So where do you have to place your stop loss? Well, you do have to place it above a previous HVN. Now, if you can find confluence between other factors and your key horizontal support and resistances, so much the better. For example, if we go take a look at the weekly chart on Bitcoin, we see a couple nice things. So here's the weekly chart on Bitcoin. I'm going to pull open this bad boy right here. And what do we see? I've got my 200 period exponential moving average, and I've got my 200 period weekly moving average on the weekly time frame. I already have my horizontal support and resistance that I found on the daily time frame by mapping out where the HVNs are, as you can see right here. Gives me a little bit more accuracy. And what do I see? I see confluence between the 200 period exponential moving average for resistance and the 200 simple moving average as support. So quite simply, here's Bitcoin. We see that this 3282 level of support has not been tested yet. Again, that was an HVN on the daily time frame and on the 4-hour time frame. We have confluence with the 200 period simple moving average. Very easy area to be placing a buy for. We're managing risk with ATR down here, found on the daily time frame. And we have upside targets, current resistance. We have a resistance zone right here, and our 200 period exponential moving average. We can also target this short-term target of the 8 period exponential moving average on the weekly time frame that has not been broken yet. Good place to set an initial sell, but ultimately we have our eyes on the prize right here. And then we're just waiting patiently to see this break or this break on a weekly time frame to be placing directional trades. Consolidating, falling volume. We are looking to see expansion in one way or the other, but nobody can tell you exactly which way the market will move, because we are range bound, stuck in no man's land in the middle of a trading range on falling volume. What we do know is that we will see a volatile movement, but we have to wait for confirmation to enter into a strong directional trade. It's that simple, guys. Otherwise, you're gambling. Have a plan, stick to the plan, keep it simple. You don't need 50,000 indicators on your chart. You only need the indicators on your chart that are going to give you very simple, very clean, actionable information. When I approach a chart, the first thing that I like to do is remove everything and just look at price action. And price action allows me to map out what I think are support and resistance. Then I'll turn on my volume profile and I will hone those levels a little bit more closely. Then I'll turn on my moving averages and see if I can find confluence in those areas, which will strengthen them. All right. All right, so let's look at, I want to look at Ethereum to the tether. Ethereum to the tether on the daily time frame. A couple interesting things here. So, first thing we got to start off with, let's go ahead and disable our volume profile for now and regular volume and just look at price action. Okay, so we have a consolidation period right here that held as support on Ethereum's rally upwards. Ethereum pulled back fairly significantly here and held this level as support before putting in its last leg of the rally and ultimately finding resistance right at that same area. We have an SFP, classic SFP, swing failure pattern, where price does move up on very low volatility. And what do we see on the daily time frame right here? Right here on January 19th, 2019, we see an evening star doji pattern on the daily time frame. Price comes up, wicks slightly above our range high. And yeah, that's your short signal right there. You have your bearish reversal candlestick pattern. You have the classic SFP pattern where you attempt to make a new high. You do actually make a new high. But this is a very common thing to look for with SFP. So you have a very nice high right here. Price is rallying up, but you can see it's stuttering, it's sputtering, it's stalling out. It's, you know, the volume is falling. And then you put in that nice evening star doji. I don't know what to tell you. You should have shorts placed at that moment in time. All right, so what do we see right here? We see price contraction in a descending fashion right here. No clear indication to be going long, except for the fact that we are resting on significant support. We do have a couple interesting areas of support. So my plan with this is not to actually buy here unless or until we actually get a bullish reaction off this level. We're not getting a bullish reaction off this level. We're continuing to get price expansion. And I do actually foresee a more expansive dip down here to test these untested levels. Because see, these levels are good on the first pass through. All right, so you can see where we have resistance on the daily time frame. Ethereum is able to blow through that and put in a nice high. And then it pulls back, and that's a great capture right there because this level has been untested. But now we've just hung out. We've tested once, twice. We've tested this support 3 times. And we're just stutter stepping here. We're just moving down on slow price contraction. I'm not really expecting this level to hold in a significant way. This is an attractive price point for Ethereum, but I do have to take the reality of the situation into account. Price did come down and wick down to the 618. I'm actually expecting that to get faked out a little bit. So the area that I have my eye on right here is this zone right here in between 108 and 103. So we could even be a little looser with that and say 100 to 110. That seems like a very good area to me because, again, we have a support level right here that does act a little bit as resistance. Price pulled back and tested this zone as support. So this zone right here seems like a very good area to be picking up Ethereum. I'm not expecting this range to hold. Now, whether we wick violently down or we actually do descend down in a more aggressive fashion, I would actually put my money on the former option, seeing as we have fairly intensive price contraction right here. So targeting these areas for potential buys for our next movement back upwards. And where do we have significant resistance? 122, 135, 148. And we don't talk about these levels up here until we break the range. Till then, we're just focusing on this. We're just focusing on the range. We play the range. So, since I do not believe that this support level is going to hold, we're going to delete this line for now. And we have our targets right here. When we come down into the zone, we'll revisit Ethereum, and we'll talk about how to manage risk. Ripple. Ripple does not look good. So, a couple things happened last night. So let's go over to, I'd like to show you guys the XRPH19 trade. All right. So we can see the capture right here, and I do have to give a big shout out to Alex for this original entry right here. This was the original entry into the XRPH19 short on the second pass through. We took profits on this candle right here, and then we re-entered right around this zone. Well, I shouldn't say we re-entered because we only hit one take profit target. We doubled up slightly here. Now here's the thing. We're coming up on support. So last night I went ahead and took profits and covered on the XRPH19 short. And I'll reevaluate depending on how price responds on the higher time frames to these support levels. Yes, there was the potential to go ahead and capture more profit, but we already had an 8%. We already had an 8% unleveraged short trade. All right. Now again, the total profit is going to be based on whatever your position size was. But if you used leverage, you had an 8% actual movement in price. So very profitable trade. And I'll just be patient. So we do have to look at spot price to determine what's going on here. Looking at the daily time frame, we're at the bottom of the HVN. We have the LVN below us. Now, I'm going to wait and see if we wick down into this LVN, which is actually what I'm expecting, and then a retest of resistance right here. A retest of resistance. So this is going to be the area. These zones right here are where I'm going to be looking to target for shorts. Again, waiting to zoom down to the lower time frames and see what the reaction to these levels is. And then we have our targets down here. We have untested supports. Very simple, very calm, patient, easy trading. No stress, no mess, no fuss. All right. I want to give a big thank you to Crazy Knight 67 for the follow on Twitch, and Kali B and Kevin for the subscriptions on YouTube. Thank you so much now. Hey, Professor Wally, thanks for joining us, man. I saw your DM on Discord, and I'll hit you up here as soon as I'm done with the video. It's pretty rough going because of my bandwidth. Not gonna lie. Most days are not like this. Okay, so let's get into... Hey, what's going on, Did you? Good to see you, brother. Smurfing, you mean you're slumming? Good to see you, brother. All right, so I want to look at Litecoin, yeah. I'm a shrub. Thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate the support. All right, so let's look at Litecoin. Yeah, we'll take the indicators off, and we'll look at Litecoin. So this is going to be the futures. So to get a clearer picture, I want to go look at here, sorry. All right, so a few things on Litecoin. So here's what stands out to me about Litecoin. So it came down to support, consolidated underneath it for a little bit, rallied up. Here's the thing about Litecoin, man. We don't see significant plays against horizontal support and resistance right here. Now we could go ahead and call this area right here, I guess, if we wanted to. So we're going to have to look for other factors. Really, we don't have any plays on the books. We've got resistance right here up above us, and we do have support down below us. So let's start looking at things like the volume profile to give us a little bit of clarity. Yeah, we can see support right here. We have the point of control. We have support right here. We have an HVN. Big resistance right here. Big resistance right here. Almost pulled back down to test that area. So what we actually saw was this level of support, this HVN, and then what do we see? We saw that stop loss hunt down into the LVN. That's why you do not want to have your stop losses in LVNs. And this is just confirmation. This is something that I've learned, but volume profile helps show you quite visually. Where are LVNs? LVNs are going to be right above and below support and resistance. And this is where retail traders are trained to have their stop losses. So you should probably not have your stop losses there because that's where everybody else has their stop losses. So one thing that just stands out to me is this J-hook pattern and the difficulty that Litecoin is having moving up. So you do want to take a look at market momentum. Now, again, I don't have a clear area of horizontal support and resistance. So this would make this a tier 2 trade, meaning that I do not have the strongest thing that I'm looking for, which is a nice, strong reaction in the proximity of horizontal support and resistance. And another thing, while I'm on the subject, when we're talking about horizontal support and resistance, is that when you draw these lines, you're going to have much better success if you draw them like this. Okay? Because you should be drawing with a crayon, and you should not be drawing with a fine tip marker. Because these are just zones. These are just zones. And traders in the marketplace can push price above or slightly below. Look what we see right here. Where you do have support. It's your point of control. It's the highest area on your volume profile. And as we can see back in retrospect, not a bad time to enter for a long. But you can see that you do get stop hunted down to the LVN. So it takes, listen guys, what I'm talking about is a little bit different from scalping strategy. I'm talking about big picture, long-term trades. Big picture, long-term trades. A much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Much more profitability in the long run. But they take balls, man. They take balls. They simply do. So there are a few things that stand out to me about Ethereum, or excuse me, about Litecoin. We do have some decent volume. And I want to look at the Fisher. Fisher on the daily chart is getting overbought. We don't have that bullish crossover yet, but remember the fissure is going to give us one candle of lag. All right, give us one candle of lag. We've got confluence right here because we have not actually formed a bottom or top right here. We have not actually rounded out on the daily time frame on the Fisher transform on our oscillator. So I see on the daily time frame, I see overbought conditions. I see price action really struggling to overcome this area. And then there's something else. So I'm just looking for confluence here. So I'm going to throw some EMAs on here. And I do see one thing. So here's the daily time frame. And we've got our 200 exponential coming in right here. 200 exponential coming in here. We had our 200 simple moving average right here acting as resistance before we were able to break out. So it does seem to me that this area right here is good for a short. And this is invalidated if we're able to get above this area. If you're going to play absentia horizontal support and resistance. Now, we do have some confluence here. We do have some confluence because we do have resistance right here, resistance. We can actually see that our previous attempt at an upthrust was stalled on a daily closing basis right here. So now what have we done? Have we put in an SFP? We did put in an SFP right here. We did put in an SFP right here, and it was an excellent time to enter into your short. And now we're coming back up on that area on fairly low momentum, We've got that same resistance coming in. Got that significant resistance coming in, coiling up. Now, the chart does look a little bit more bullish. So ultimately, for long-term positions and trades, it seems to me that this would be a good area to enter into a short from. Ultimately, you would like to target these areas right here. And I expect to see consolidation in this range. I expect to see everything tighten up here a little bit. If we're able to tighten up at these higher levels, and depending on how Bitcoin behaves, we could be seeing higher targets for all of these. But I can't be entering into a position on Litecoin right now for several reasons. One, we're just in too close of proximity to resistance, and we're too far away from support, which makes it the R to R is not here for me now. Because to enter into a trade anywhere around here, I would have to set my stop loss. So if I wanted to behave as retailers, I would have to set my stop loss below these moving averages and below this trading range. And that would give me a stop loss of somewhere around 7 to 8% for only a short-term profit of 4%. So the risk to reward opportunity is not there. The risk to reward opportunity is not there. Now, where would the risk to reward opportunity be there? Potentially a close above this resistance level right here, because that would be getting us back in proximity to this range high. And remember, we've already tested this zone of resistance now once, twice, 3, 4 times was an upthrust above it. That was that breakout got faded. But if we approach, see, we formed a higher low. If we approach back up to this area and consolidate, and if we are able to close the daily above the 200 period simple moving average without a complete decay, without a complete descent back to support, then I would be looking at these higher targets of really 0.01, 0.0102 or 0.0105. So that seems like good R to me, because that's a good 8 to 11% trade. And I'm able to manage risk because at that point we're above resistance. We're above any kind of significant resistance. And now we're just targeting the next resistance. Simply targeting the next resistance. And what happens when we get up here? Good areas to be short from. Calm, patient, slow, easy trading. D-nuts. So I'm looking at Binance Exchange. What program I use? I manually trade. Yep, Christian has it absolutely right. BitMEX Coin, thank you so much for the follow on Twitch. Digital De Niro and Naheem Shaikh, thank you so much for the subs on YouTube, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me, even with the technical difficulties. All right, so let's see here. Oh, CME has expired this morning, by the way. at 10 Central Standard Time. Let's take a look at our... Oh, here's the trade we took last night for anybody interested. Was Ontology. We've been watching Ontology for a little bit. So again, forming the trade on the... Let's get rid of this stuff right here. And listen, guys, I am sorry that my screen is smushed for you guys. I know. There's really nothing I can do about that. So I've been watching Ontology for a little bit. We were forming this nice symmetrical pattern right here. I saw that we were right here at the bottom of the range last night, right here at the bottom of the range. And I saw you can look at the momentum of the candle when you're toward the bottom of the range and price is stalling out. It's a good opportunity for a trend reversal. Now, I was a little bit hesitant because I wasn't quite sure we were going to break the top of the range. So I went ahead and just targeted the closest resistance on the daily time frame. And it was still a nice 4% trade. And you can see we did get rejection from the top of this pattern, or excuse me, from this descending trend line. Now, I'm not much of a patterns guy. You guys know that. I don't like to trade chart patterns. So instead of doing something whack-a-noodle, which most people would do, which is measuring this and saying, oh, we're going to go up 44 or 45 million, 1 million%. I simply targeted local resistance for a secondary take profit target. Simply targeted secondary resistance for a secondary take profit target. Now, it's not all flowers, rainbows, and sunshine. Because the way that I had set the trade up was as follows. I was actually expecting price to wick down below the pattern and fake a lot of people out, fake traders out. So I was actually targeting this support level right here for 70% of my position. And I just only market entered about 30% of my position here because I didn't want the market to run away from me, and then ended up doing so. So I'm glad that I did not put all my eggs in one basket and set the majority of my position down here. So I was able to capture about 4%, about a 4% trade on about 30% of a regular position size. It's okay. I'll take profit, and we'll simply observe this and wait now for a break of this range, for a 4-hour close above this range to target our next take profit. But I'd be very cautious entering here. You don't long resistance, you short resistance, and you long support. Oh, you guys want to talk about Tron? You're looking for no-brainers. There we go. I mean, look, it just doesn't get, this looks quite similar to Litecoin, man. Very similar to Litecoin. It just doesn't look more no-brainer than this. Price stuttering, staggering out right here, forming this nice scalloping formation right here. At resistance, remember we're drawing in crayon, not fine tip pencil, guys. Not fine tip pencil. Daily time frame. Daily time frame. Very significant support level. Support here. Resistance here. Resistance here. Resistance here. Yeah. Other things too as well. So now that we have horizontal support and resistance established, We're really overall in the daily time frame in LVN territory. We've got key supports down in these levels. With our point of control coming in right here around 548. Now, our moving averages are bullish. All right? We're pretty much above everything. And this is something that I do look for. So we have nice consolidation. We have a nice bullish movement up and a blow off top. And then a secondary upthrust on weaker volume. And it's not like the Fisher transform is not printing bearish divergence everywhere. That has nothing to do with it. It's not like this is just printing bearish divergence everywhere we go. Yeah, guys, I'll be honest with you. If I were to trade my opinion, which I do not do, I would posit that Bitcoin is more likely. So sorry, let's go to the actual tradable chart for this. And we'll go ahead and get rid of everything. Yeah, Bitcoin is much more likely to have a nice bull trap upwards. So again, we talked about this earlier. We've got very, very easy targets here, guys. We've got this zone right here. We've got this zone right here. If we throw the volume profile on, we can see the confirmation of those zones. Yep. We've got this zone right here, and we've got this zone right here. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean the trade will work out. Doesn't mean that we're going to get caught off guard by the market and that we do end up forming a higher daily high and the range gets broken. But you know what? That's the price you pay to take to take a good setup. Looking for a reentry. BTC buyer, you're doing good, man. Jürgen asks, I sold TRX with a nice profit. Where would be a good reentry? If we can get back down to 598, or you can ladder buys to this area. I'm going to approach this area the opposite way. Power to Achieve says, just let Bitcoin dump to 2,500 and the point of entry to a lot of investors and whale. See, the problem with that, in my opinion, is that too many people are saying that. And when you have a lot of people on the same side of consensus that Bitcoin is going to go to 2,500, that Bitcoin is going to go to 2,500 in any short time frame, that makes me very speculative and tentative because I don't want to be on the side of a lot of traders. Because then, since everybody is screaming, see, everybody's starting to get depressed, man. We're starting to see the psychological signs of capitulation. Because the more times that we came up and tested resistance and got rejected from resistance, the more depressed people get. And the more depressed people believe that, okay, well, Bitcoin's dead. We're not going to be able to move up, blah, 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 blah. But the reality is, as a trader, I cannot trade what consensus opinion is. I have to look for opportunities to trade against consensus opinion because those are the highest risk to reward trades. So if consensus opinion is that Bitcoin's going to $2,500 tomorrow, I'm probably going to be looking to buy dips. All right. Now, if there's lots of things we can see. We can look for range breaks. We can look for divergence. We can look for some huge black swan event. But for right now, man, nothing coming. Nothing coming. I'm just patiently waiting, sitting on my hands. Now, there are some other charts that offer a lot of opportunities, like Ripple, Tron. Those seem like no-brainers. So let's play the no-brainer trades. And let's leave the stuff that's not doing anything and liquidating everybody to the upside and the downside. Let's focus on that later. All right, guys, I think that's going to be all for me today, man. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment section. Sorry, I could not look at the... Oh, I wanted to look at... I did see a question. So I did want to verify that I didn't have this wrong. Give me 1 second. Okay. Hey, no problem. And I'm sorry, guys, for the inconvenience of having it all whack-a-noodlery, all right? I did my best. I will call and yell at my ISP tomorrow. A lot of viewers, guys. I appreciate it. All right, just give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up Discord and I'm going to look at something. Hey, Wally, thanks so much for the $4.99, my good friend. I'm really looking forward to working with you in the Discord, man. And he says, capitulation, although we generally don't want it, can be a good thing as it shakes weak hands. It lets those who are serious and devoted build stuff. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. All right, so I want to take a look here in my own Discord. And see, here we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and keep that one up. Right, now the trick is finding the chart. Okay, so you know what I do need to get better at is updating the free signals channel in the Discord. Okay, so here's the skinny. Yeah, and this is my bad because I do update, the members lounge every day. So what do we got going on here? So I'll just be honest with you. The way that we played this, and I'll even show you the screenshot if you want. So I feel like crap when I say stuff because this is my bad. And I do need to update that channel a little bit more or be on top of it more. But the reality is that when we were looking at the chart, ELF never came back down to our entry. It took off before it came back down to our entry. So we got entry now. So let's look at what we got going on. Let's see if we can't pull you out of a crux. So retail is going to have their stop loss. All right. Here. Excelente. And here, yeah. Okay, so let's go to the daily. Symmetrical pattern, nice break to the upside. Okay, so here's what we see on the daily time frame, man. Daily time frame rejection from resistance, almost touch of this resistance. We've got some confluence coming in right here with our 100 simple and our 100 exponential moving average. Hey Eli, thanks so much for the $5 tip, man. Yeah, I'll look at IOP for you, man. Would it be a terrible strategy to short the very top of a major move if there is one, as it is retracing? I think the pop will just be another lower high and short-lived for 1 or 2 days. Yeah, you just got to stick to your guns, man. You just got to stick to your guns. If you feel very strongly fundamentally about a short, and you have confluence with key levels of horizontal support and resistance, and you have confluence with your volume profile, you just stick to your guns, man. But you make sure that you're managing your risk management, man. Whether that's through reducing position sizing or whether that's through laddering your buys. So if you're expecting a pop, what I don't generally like to do, well, is go all in one single position. I mean, ladder up. That'll give you a better average entry price, but don't ladder up if you don't have the plan to go in all at once, man. Okay, so daily time frame here for ELF is now overbought. Daily time frame for ELF is now overbought. We had the crossover on the Fisher transform right here as we were forming this nice price contraction right here, finding resistance on our 55 daily, had that nice little pop up to previous resistance, and now we've pretty much retraced the whole way back to support. Now, if we go down to the 4-hour time frame, we're getting a nice little bit of reaction right here, but it doesn't seem like the bearish momentum has stalled. Okay, so here's the 4-hour chart. We are above we are above support. The 4-hour Fisher transform is in oversold territory right here. And we can see right here that these are good areas where we've popped before. So what I would do right here is I would be watching this quite closely and look for this move back up here to 31.55, 31.73, and that's going to let you get out of break even. Here we got 4-hour chart. We were unable to close below the 55 exponential moving average. We've got our hundreds coming in right here. So we've got a lot of confluing support right here. Now things are getting really tight, and I apologize for not updating that signal channel, man. I really do. I got to be better with the free channel. Scott yells at me about that pretty much every day. So yeah, I'll do my best, guys. But yeah, I think you're going to have a good opportunity here to get out of break even right up here. Because again, close proximity to support. Nice buying reaction off that close proximity to consolidation right there. 4-hour time frame. You get some nice you've got some nice support right here with oversold conditions on your Fisher. You actually do see on the 4-hour the momentum drying up just a little bit. So yeah, I think you've got a good opportunity here to move back up to 131.75, which will actually get you out at a slight profit. All right, IOP. Daily time frame. Get rid of those wicks here for a second. All right, so yeah, daily time frame just helps us see much clearly here. Or excuse me, the line chart helps us see very clearly here. All right, man. All right. Daily time frame, close proximity to resistance. Overbought Fisher, giving you the bearish cross under on the daily time frame. Let's go down to the 4-hour time frame. Kind of like this nice rounded bottom right here, though. All right. Now, where do we got support? We got support right here. Let's look at volume and see the urgency of the market. Yeah, so price really unable to break out of this range, Eli. All right, so what do we got here? All right, we got support in this zone right here that we are hoping to hold. Again, we ascended right here. Had a nice volatile buying movement right here. Quite higher, more urgency in the buyers here than previous, but still a lower high. You got a ton of support coming in there too. 4-hour, you got all your moving averages curled up, crossing over, right in the zone right here, man. I like this for a re-entry. I'm not going to lie. I like IOP for a re-entry. Got a lot of confluence right here. You've got your support zone that you're hoping to hold. You've got nice volume right here. Nice blow off top, movement back down. You would expect the movement back up to at least clear out the trap buyers. So you've got an initial trade. You've got a nice 9% trade on the table right there. You also have, let's go to the higher time frame, see if we can't get a different target. All right, so let's get out of auto because that's annoying me. PVR, let's get rid of volume. Volume on the daily time frame. Yeah, okay. Yep, same thing here on the daily time frame, man. See here where you're underneath all your moving averages. You're consolidating. You finally break above. That's your daily call. You've got resistance right here. Turns into support. You get this nice little pump movement back up. Now, this is a tricky one, man. IOP is a tricky one. Look at this Wick City, man. Wick City. You just got to stick to your guns on something like this. You got to stick to your guns on something like this, man. Price has been able to break below this level of support. Price has been able to break out of this range. Let's go take a look at something like the market depth ratio and see if that's going to help us out. Market depth ratio doesn't look good, man. So you did see here where pretty much from January 22nd to January 25th, all right, you had an increase in the market depth ratio. That means you had an increasing amount of buyers. And yeah, January 22nd. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's go back and look at that MDR. Excuse me, January 23rd. And we double tap here on the 24th. Yeah, really at the end of the 24th, which makes sense. That's the top. So here's the 24th. Oh, here's the 24th. Today's the 24th. See a lot of buying in between here. And now the sellers have taken over. And the buyers have exited the market. And this is what market depth ratio is telling you. You've dropped back down to your area right there. And the sellers continue to rise. You typically want to do your buying when you see MDR making a move like this, and you see negative, you see the limit orders, you see the asks falling down. So fundamentals not looking good. But the technicals do look all right. You're still bullish on the daily time frame. You've had a nice volume spike right here. It got sold into. And this is just this looks like any of you guys play Mortal Kombat? This looks like that nail bed spike that you would get uppercutted off the bridge right here. Finish him. Sorry, man. I'm not trying to play with your money. Eli, if you DM me your specifics in the Discord, I'll be able to help you out a little bit better. That's a tricky one, man. Alex, I looked at Bitcoin extensively if you rewind at the beginning of the show. Sorry, not to be insulting, but I really gotta go, man. Yeah, I got it, man. Thank you so much, brother. All right, take it easy, man. Futures expired this morning, guys. 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, guys. Hey. No. It's all good, man. Didn't really have an effect on the markets whatsoever. So, guys, sorry. I normally do a much longer show, but my bandwidth is crappy. It's cold. It's Friday. It's time for the weekend. I'm going to do a lot of, I'm going to set up some nice, good long-term trades, and I'm going to spend the day hanging out with my subscribers, guys. DJ Mac channel, thanks so much for the follow, or excuse me, thanks so much for the sub on YouTube, guys. Wally, I'm going to get to you in the Discord. I'm going to get to all the people that are DMing me in the Discord right now. I'll get to you guys here as soon as I'm done, brothers. Thank you so much for supporting and following me, guys. I'm not even going to do the regular thing at the end of the video. If you guys want to support us, just make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, as well as the thumbs up. We appreciate that. If you go over to follow us on Twitch at Cracking Crypto, give us a subscribe over there. We highly appreciate it. Helps me keep the lights on and let Scott eat something besides ramen, or at least lets him put some freeze-dried peas in his ramen. He always looks forward to that. All right, I will look at waves before I bail. Thank you so much for the tip, Zahir. All right, bro. Waves, BTC. Oh, no, not there. BTC. Yeah, see, I kind of... Anyways, waves, BTC. There we go. Oh, my daughter's on a tear right now. All right, let's look here. All right, so price pulled back from a high. Price pulled back to a high for a 50% retracement to an HVN. Got a nice bullish reaction off of that on decent volume. Declining volume, though, from the recent high. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have a nice little up thrust, though. Running into some resistance right here in this zone, which makes sense. It is previous resistance. Actually, we can see it right there. The market's turned around there multiple times before. But you do want to start from the right of your chart and move left. And as you can see, we've pretty much just run train on these resistances right here with this movement right here, broken back through. All right, so let's do something very simple like this. All right, so we've got a little bit of an HVN right here. Previous resistance all the way to the left. I kind of like that. Yep, I like that. 50% retrace of this downwards movement. You also have targets here at the 618. That's confluent with a HVN right here. You can front run it at the 382, 88.97. But that target's going to be 94.31 for me. And again, I'm doing this on the daily chart, so you're going to have to want to go into the lower time frames and sharpen up your lines. Okay, so now let's let's keep volume profile out there. Okay, and then we've got resistance right here that we haven't been able to close above on the daily level. As you can see, it's where the market turns around right here. And really, all you get is a stop loss sign up to an HVN. So not looking at any targets above this until we're able to fix this out, because it's still just range trading right now. And yeah, okay. So now let's look and see if we can get any confluence with our EMAs. Okay, above all our EMAs, price looking pretty bullish. Here's our 55. We had a nice little bounce, nice little reaction off the 55. All right. Nice little reaction off the 55. All right, so if this level holds, again, this level holds, your targets are going to be 81.93 and 94.31. But for me, if this breaks, I'm not expecting this level to hold either. And we're going to keep our eyes on 53.89. All right, that's our previous level of support right there. That was our HVN. We have previous resistance. We have previous support. We have previous support, consolidation in that zone. We actually have, this is our first resistance zone when we started going on Mr. Moon mission right here for waves. So this is a very, very, very important level. It's also going to be, take a bet. It's also going to be, hold on, got to get this out of the way. Sorry about that. It's also going to be, yep, in between our 618 and our 786 Fibonacci retracement. We've also got our hundreds coming in there. We've got our 100 exponential. We've got our 100 simple coming all right around this range. We've got our 200 simple and our 200 exponential average curving up coming around that area. Yeah, a lot pointing to this area right here, as you can see. Horizontal support and resistance, moving averages, confirmation, high volume node. Yeah, I like that area right there. Yeah, because look, you got this LVN right here. We closed below this, and really, I mean, I'm gonna put my money on the fact that if we break this support level now, if this doesn't hold, because we consolidated at this level and we broke above. So if we hold this level again, we've got the 21, we've got the 13 coming in here real nicely on the daily time frame. So if we hold this, all right, cool. You've got upside targets, and I recommend using a trailing stop. So what seems to be the average volatility, about 6,620 Satoshis would be a good trailing stop. Hashtag 3commas.io. If this level breaks, then look to re-up right around this area right here. Of course, don't just blindly set limit orders there. Watch this area closely. Around 53.89, set an alert. When price comes back down, let's go down to your 4-hour, go down to your 30-minute, see how price reacts to that level. Hey, DL, sorry, man. I gotta, you guys have no idea couple things. I got stuff to do today, and I super got to use the washroom. That's a good way to end the stream. Hey guys, you guys are awesome, fantastic, and amazing. I did the stuff. Hey, if you hop on tomorrow, man, if you hop on the stream tomorrow, hopefully I'll have the internet issues figured out. I'll be able to hang around for a little bit longer, and I'd be happy to look at some Forex, man. It's been a while since I've looked at Palladium and Platinum, but I'd be happy to refresh my opinion and give you my technical analysis, man. Highly appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on Twitch, subscribe on Twitch. If you guys would like to join the premium trading group and get access to all our signals and setups, if you'd like to get access to our database resource library, curated news, and a very supportive community. Again, guys, the members lounge is always my first stop every morning just to see how the guys are doing. And they keep me grounded, man. So you guys are fantastic and amazing. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. Again, premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Description is in the link below. Thank you so much. I will be here tomorrow, and hopefully today's show has helped crack cryptocurrency for you.